Hello again, everyone. Welcome to my fourth and probably final reaction series that I'm putting up on my channel. 86. Now, 86 has been around for a couple seasons now. I think season 2 has ended by now. I haven't heard a whole lot about this series, but I know Mother's Basement put out a video on this that was about how making I think it was like how to make a mecha anime feel real or something like that, which immediately intrigues me. I am kind of a fan of mecha. I don't know if it's very noticeable, but I have some like really cheap gunpla that I got up here that I plan on painting one day. So if you want to ever support that, if you want to get these babies a paint job, hey, stop on by my other reactions. Okay, this is a really dumb way to start this video. Kind of trying to be a little bit more relaxed around you guys, and let me just check my lighting. No, my lighting's fine. Trying to be a little bit more relaxed around you guys because I've kind of been super formal for my last couple videos. But so yeah, mecha anime. Mother's Basement put out a video on this. I am a huge fan of mecha anime. Mecha anime being some of the most important anime that ever exist. It's like one of the back in I think like the 80s, 70s. Mecha anime was like the isekai of the time. Since like Gundam, it's kind of like usually used as like a war analog. A lot of character stuff, not even character stuff. A lot of like, let's take a look at conflict things. Follow mecha anime. And that's what I'm kind of into. So I'm gonna try to see what's going on in this anime. If at any point you like what you see, go ahead and hit me with that like button down below. If you don't like what you see, hit me with the dislike button. I can take it. I really want to hear from people. I'm like having a discussion around these things or around these series as I go through them. So if you want to leave a comment, please go ahead and do so. Don't be afraid. If you'd like to see more from me, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm going to try to keep these videos consistently once a week at least. So, I mean, for each series. So, but anyway, yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Well, that's not a very nice thing to say. Oh, I thought that was a plane. But it's a spider tank thing. Okay. A little bit of 3D, but there's nothing wrong with that. Especially for a mecha anime. Now, whose perspective are we in? Is that how the mechs are gonna look in the series? Because that's pretty sick. That's a cool choice to make. If that's the case. Weird spiders. Spider riders! Uniform tells me that you are the swaggy side. I'm not paying attention to what year that they're saying on the bottom there, by the way. I'm being very bad. I'll find out in a minute. 85 sectors of the Republic. Got it. Does everybody have white hair? Oh. Okay. Got it. Okay, so Republic uses unmanned drones and ethical drones, huh? Zero Republic casualties, Yes! Glory to Artotska! San Magnolia. Okay. Major. Okay. That's a badass statue. I have no idea how it stands up, but by that I mean its hair. Interesting. Doll-loving princess. I mean, you're kind of morning drinking, and unless your name is Hans, I can't forgive you for that. Oh no, tired scientists are my fetish. My fetish? Oh man, I have to, like, practice before I start talking. 86th sector. Alright. Oh no. Do we have... Oh no, do we have like lesser citizens that we called unmanned drones? Yes, okay. So, how dare that processor take... So he's just a part. They're people. Understood. Alright. Immediately establishes it. To the point of like just hitting us bluntly with it. Nice. I don't think that they take it as an honor. It appears that they take their jobs extremely laxly. To destroy his handlers. No, in what way? Retired or transferred. Okay. So he does something explicitly that... Suicide. So he does something to make them understand the weight of what they're doing. Oh, I'm so interested. I need to know what's going on with I want to know what the processors side looks like. Damn, calling them processors. That's so dehumanizing. I love it. Wow. This is dire. That's dire. I mean, yeah, that's the way that we've chosen to live. Not that it's right, I'm just saying, is what it is. You have a problem, change it. Don't complain about it. Well, that sounds wrong, but I'm saying nothing's gonna change talking to this guy. Interesting. Now, this all sounds nice and cool, but how are you gonna show me why that is? That's interesting. Now, what is this pararate thing? I hope that this is one of those animes that actually explains all the technology and not one of those animes where they put out like a long series of novels or whatever to say what the cool technology does. So, idyllic super future society that barely even cares for military things. Real eggs? Oh my god, in this society, in this economy? Wow. Oh, okay, well, that'll do. Oh no! So, no, did we? Okay, cool. That was the funniest thing in the world. They cut over to look of horror for somewhere else. It seems like the worst job to have if you have this much empathy, by the way. This is a dire universe. Interesting. So we say, give my regards to the Reaper. 2148. Alright, I'm gonna have to go back and look at all of those dates again anyway, so I'm not gonna bother. But, how interesting. We can just do this on our casual time? Is it permanently on? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Woo! That 1 millisecond thought of is that the whole episode? Okay, so we're splitting the episode in half between whatchamacallits and processors. Got it. And over here we get a nice bright human society. Okay. That's how it goes. Interesting. So like in high society we say, what? Normal eggs? Real eggs? That's crazy. Here we show them just getting normal eggs. How interesting. Super bright and humane and personal and excellent. Can't wait to see at least half of these characters die by the end of episode 2, 3. Man, I love military mecha anime. Wow, we have a graffiti showing of the and it's stepping on the wow, just ace world building and ace showing of mentality between the two classes of people here. Gonna go ahead and not say Shirobuta in English. Ooh, are we gonna do it immediately? Who knows? Oh, we're gonna immediately say amen. Here's the reality of what's going on. Sorry, I know I said that wrong. Here, just immediately, here's the reality of what our society is like. The joy of living to the confusion and pain and just absolute brutality of war. Okay. All for that mundane, stale, dry peace and happiness that the Republic gets to have. Okay. It's establishing. Did I turn off Do Not Disturb? Shut up. I'm sorry. Not I don't want to die, guys. Shut up. I mean my phone. I apologize for that. All right. What a coincidence. Okay. Yep. Okay. It's this guy. I can feel it. Damn. Yep. It's mercy. And now he's free of this cruel, cruel world. That's how it has to be. Are you serious right now? Hold on. I'm sorry. Fudge is such a good scene, but no, he's just gonna beat on my door if I don't stop it. Alright, I'm gonna pause. Are we gonna end it just there? Ooh. That's a choice. Days till I end my surf. Glory to the Spearhead Squadron. Also, they get to stop when. Oh, okay, we're. That's it's so what a damn. That's such a correct look at what a society like this would be. An entire episode of establishing, huh? I'm gonna go ahead and watch this OP. Hopefully no spoilers, who knows? Man, that's such a good what a good world built. What a world built in an episode, you know? And a cast of characters established. Why do I keep forgetting words until I just say them out later. I wanted to say established earlier. Like, what a beautiful way of establishing these characters, but I ended up forgetting it because so much stuff was happening on screen that was just kind of great. Also, I love this mecha design. Forget cool mechs. Whatever works for a battlefield. Moving tanks. That's what mechs are supposed to be. All the arms and legs, stupid. Don't need it. Tanks that move in all terrain. Boom. Strongest fighting force in the world. Big gun. Big gun that move fast. Big gun that move fast anywhere. So, that was a great first episode. That was an amazing establishing episode. I'll be right back to gather my thoughts and we'll continue to talk about this. All right, and we're back. You might immediately notice that this is taking on a totally different day and that my lighting situation has changed a little bit. I just made my lights a little bit warmer. I didn't like how cold it was coming through on all my videos, so I decided to see how this would work out, and I can already tell I'm going to like it a little bit better. And as for why it's a different day, life things kind of interrupted the middle of that recording, and basically I finished the episode, and then immediately after that I had to take care of some stuff. But yeah, I've had a moment to sleep on that episode, and I'm going to try to get through it pretty quickly, get through my thoughts very quickly, because I have to record a full video and whatnot in a short amount of time. Yeah, that was a great episode. That was a spectacular first episode. Like, world building, establishing characters, very, very, very good. The only thing I wasn't 200% into was the dates on the bottom. I've at this point looked through the episode for a second time. I've edited it a little bit, and I've kind of looked through it to find my thumbnail, which I didn't really like any of the thumbnails for first episode, so I'm just going to use the poster. It's going to break how I do all my other thumbnails, but that's behind the scenes stuff, is not important. But yeah, I looked back through the episode and I paid attention, and I got to see, oh, okay, it took place over 2 days, and we were seeing day one was the last day that Lena, the first day that Lena was, or like the last day she had with her previous squadron, and her introducing herself to her new squadron, or leading up to her introducing herself to her new squadron. But before I go too deep into what happen inside the episode, I want to touch real quick. I want to do a talk about sci-fi and why this episode is so cool as a sci-fi. So sci-fi exists, right, on the highest level of why you write a sci-fi story. It exists to be a question, right? It's a story that's written to let you ask a question and then explore the answer, right? For example, if we use Star Trek, which is the end all be all science fiction perfect example. In Star Trek, the question is what would humanity do if all of our problems, all of our needs for money, land, food, all of that was just free? We were at the point in society where none of that mattered anymore. What we would do? Well, clearly we're going to follow the human desire to explore and understand the world around us, and that means we'll go into like high fleet travel, and we'll go to these new worlds, and we'll in our like perfect idyllic society that knows nothing but peace. Although the Star Trek world has war, but it's between other species that they've met, not necessarily within itself, not within the what is it called? There's no war within Starfleet. There's asshole admirals and whatnot, but that's just the human condition. We're gonna be assholes to people once we get authority, but mainly we live in a society where they live in a society where they have everything, and so they want to explore, they want to learn about things, and in their benevolence as we don't interfere with species and new people that they meet. And the rest of the series, beyond that, so all of that is like the general idea of the sci-fi of Star Trek, right? And then from there you get to go even further into some more concepts that get to be explored because they're all based on, or they all have like that backing of that original, that original sci-fi question and exploration. That made no sense, but basically that's how Star Trek exists, right? 86 exists with a different question, and that one is, what if we had a perfect idyllic utopia, like near utopia, not really a utopia, but kind of starting to be perfect society. Our military is starting to become like a joke. We just do it as a jobs program, whatever that means. In 20 years, we think we're not going to need a military anymore, which is weird. Everything is nice. Everything's great. We don't even use real people in our wars. We use drones that are unmanned, and we're so great. We're breaking away from that evil empire. The people around us are evil, but we're good, and yada yada yada. But all of that is built on a lower class second set of people who are sent out to do all of the wars, and possibly I'm gonna guess a society that has a cast of people that is used just to make war, just to be drones or dolls or processors. That in that society it's possible that there's other occupations that are taken over by similar unmanned automatic people. You know what I'm saying? Automatic machinery is how they would probably put it. So we'll find out about that. That's immediately a kind of fascinating subject, isn't it? And then from asking like that kind of question, you get the essence of what sci-fi is all about, and that's why this series is so freaking cool. Now, another thing that they did that's really cool, I think that they did like a really great job of building this world in this first episode, establishing this world, building this world in this first episode. We start off in the Republic of, I have it down, it's called the Republic of San Magnolia. Yeah, so the Republic of San Magnolia. We start off here, and immediately we're shown everyone looks the same. Whether that's going to go into a eugenics racial superiority thing or not, who knows, but everyone looks the same. They have the same eye colors, hair colors, blah blah. They immediately establish, oh, it's so great, it's so grand. Everything's clean, everybody's happy, there's families. Oh, newscast, oh, there was a skirmish yesterday, but all of our losses were unmanned. We're done by, all our fighting is done by drones. It's okay. And then we get to the military base, and everyone's just, it's like a frat house in there. Everyone's drunk, or large amounts of people are drunk. People are just hanging around. It's like when I was in school, in higher school, college, and we had our freaking break room where everyone was just hanging out, just absolutely letting it hang free for a little while. Somebody in there, if it was the right world, somebody in there would be playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Magic the Gathering cards or Pokemon cards, depending on your region and the whoever the authority on your street is. Because I grew up in Yu-Gi-Oh town, but when I moved after graduating high school, I found out quickly that Magic Town is a very different kind of place. In fact, if we go to the episode, hold on, I'm gonna actually pull up the episode real quick. So our first thing that we establish, she wakes up, she's putting on her uniform, she's getting ready, right? She perfectly has her uniform all set up, gold chain, everything, right? We get over, and people are sloppy, messy, hanging around, untucked, looks like, laughing, joking. Everything's messy, dirty. The fountain is full of trash. Oh, it's so good. It's so established. Nobody respects military life in this place. Oh, that's so good. That's just such a good, what a good start. It lets me know that somebody is like really thinking about how can we show in just a second, how can we establish the mood of this place, right? So we establish all of this, right? No respect for military, no overly happy, loose society. Another thing we establish is that, oh, hey, I got real eggs. What? No one ever gets real eggs here. And it's like, oh, okay, we're at that level of society. Got it. Fake clone food everywhere. Got it. Which, hey, I'm not anti-clone food, whatever. As long as it tastes good. And then from there, we get a bunch of like little establishing how drones and operators, I'm going to call them operators. I don't remember what word they used. I don't remember what word they used to actually refer to the people. Yeah, I'm going to continue to say operators just because I don't know what word they used for the people who actually control the droids, drones. I'm really hoping that the quotation marks in my voice come through. They show a guy, you know, running out. How dare that processor talk back to me? They do whatever I tell them to. During the talk with the uncle, he's saying, "Don't even write down the casualties on the drone side. You know, they don't even count. We don't count those." But which seems like it's a inefficient way of having your military operate. I mean, you're going to want to have a general tally of, you know, how many mechs you lose. And then amongst all that, we have Lena. I'm going to try saying her name one more time. Vladilena Melez. It has a little apostrophe has a little swoop on the E. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. But she has a respect for drones, and apparently there's something that her father had as well. So together with her respecting the military and her at least understanding the weight or the concept that these drones are humans, I wonder how we're gonna handle that. And I say that because our secondary character, Undertaker, has a reputation of causing, or possibly being the cause of, well, I say possibly, absolutely somehow being the cause of several operators retiring or even killing themselves. And from what I gathered from like quotes apparently that people said, they felt the guilt of the dead. They said something like they've heard the voices of the dead, which makes me wonder how exactly we're doing that. Now, I don't want to go into it too much if this isn't the case, but I know during that conversation with oh no, I didn't take down her name, I think Lena's friend, the scientist lady, apparently the technology they use to actually perform the operator drone link up is new and unknown exactly in how it works. So it's possible that he somehow reverse engineered it to share his experience with her, and all these operators have just been experiencing what it's like to actually be in battle, and it causes them to freak out. That's what I'm thinking. And if that's the case, then would Lena, who already considers the operators on the drones under her to be real people, would she be susceptible to that, or would she find strength in that and be able to help them even further, like to be more efficient as an operator than anybody else that they know? That's what's interesting, and that could be a fun little area to go to. And let's talk about Undertaker, and let's talk about our second half, or really it was like a quarter of the, or third quarter of the episode, when we go over to, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Region 86. At their end, we'll go with the Spearhead Squadron. When we go over to Undertaker's people, we are immediately thrust from like this cold. Actually, my lighting change might be hey, that's kind of thematically. We are thrust from like cold palette whites and blues into browns and warmness in the episode. We get this diverse, warm cast of characters who get established as just a family living out here on the battlefield, right? They have real chickens, they're raising them, they're playing around, they're drawing, making art. And then in one shot, we establish the underlying mood of this entire encampment or family, which is this graffitied on drawing of the goddess. I'm thinking, was it Magnolia? Was that her name? But the goddess statue that we have in the military place, that's whose fountain is covered in trash, right? And she's holding out the sword in the normal heroic pose, right? But here, when we see it graffitied on the wall, we have it in this dominating warlike pose. And what do we have it doing? We have it stepping on and pointing a sword to this mannequin or idol, whatever the heck it is, of one of the Republic people. The word pig hanging from his neck. And if I'm not mistaken, there's words in English. Welcome to blank, the base closest to heaven. That's really, really like war scary imagery, like if you've ever seen like I think it was Platoon, what is the one I just saw, Full Metal Jacket, right? There's that one scene with the guy sitting in a chair and you go, whoa. If you know what scene I'm talking to about, yeah, stuff like that is real. Like people in a war situation just becoming really dehumanized and making these creepy symbols of frustration is so raw, so real too. I like it a lot. It makes this crew have just that little bit of an undertone of creepiness. I mean, even later when Lena starts talking to them and she introduces herself respectfully, we find a page, aha, and look at this female pig. But yeah, I understand most of these guys, it looks like we have a fairly large amount of just children here, so who knows? Now, I don't know, other than that, if I have too much to talk about, we get one scene of war with our characters, and it's really there to establish why Deader you're too cool looking, but not cool looking enough to survive McGee gets shot, and how we handle that. Everyone goes silent, stoic, not sad, not crying, not. They're used to this, you know? They've lived with this before, and it's just par for the course. Time to walk over. And as this guy is, you know, begging for it, is not begging for his life, but pleading for it, praying for it, whatever you want to call it. He stops, he sees Shen, and he goes, hey, let me actually, so I can see the exact wording. Our promise. Don't forget it. Yep. Established. Boom. Now, I don't know how to take this one thing. This might be me reading too far into it or whatever, but I do want to say they have these big giant mech suits, right? And they're not giant. They look like they're like not tank size, but like car size maybe. But these big vehicles, you can just take a knife and cut off a piece of them, which seems either that's supposed to which either that's supposed to indicate like they give them cheap machines that aren't well armored, or maybe it's I'm reading too far into it and it's just supposed to be, you know, this heart-wrenching scene of him taking one piece of souvenir from this character and wanting to keep it. He etches into it he etches his name into, not his name, but the character's name. I believe it's like something. Kurt Cujo. Sorry. He etches Cujo's name into it, and just like this somber and alone moment, he gives it reverence. But yeah, let's see. Oh, and before we get, luckily this passed by. Also, 129 days until retirement, or until I end my service. Fucking glory to the Spearhead Squadron, huh? Okay, fair enough. I think this is really nice. I think this is really establishing this mood between these two classes of people, and I'm really excited to see. I want to see more of an episode in both places, actually. So, also, I have like so many questions of how this world works. If they've said a lot that this is like to the east. I want to know his name, because the character's name is Shen, so I'm guessing this is like an Area 11 situation where these might be, you know, people living in an Asian country. Can never tell, because do they have red hair because they're not from Japan? Shen has black hair, but main characters always have black hair. Are they all from like Japan equivalent? And also a character, when Cujo dies, they go, has he passed? Yes. Did you hear your brother's voice? No. Want to know what's going on with that too? That's another point of interest. Well, yeah, at this point, I think I've said everything I want to say on the series, or on this episode. I really want to get into the next one sooner rather than later. But for that, I'll see you next week. If you've liked what you've seen so far, go ahead and hit me with the like button. I mean, you've stuck with me this long if you're hearing this, so what's to lose? If I've missed something or there's anything you want to discuss with me, please go ahead and leave a comment. But that's going to be it from me. I am the Antagonist Advocate, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice one.